All right, everyone. So it's 4:30 now, and I'm starting supper. So we're making the homemade sloppy joes tonight. So right now I'm going to go ahead and saute up some onions and green peppers. It is a very dark day, super windy still, rained. Yeah, it's cold. It seems like more of a fall day, a fall rainy day. Alright, we're going to let these saute for a little bit, and then we'll add some ground beef to it. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and add the ground beef in now. I got a pound of ground beef. This is 80-20. Some people like the higher fat content. Sometimes we get that too because it's cheaper, but we have 80-20. This piece is a little frozen yet, but that's okay. Just break it up into smaller pieces. It'll thaw out just like that. I'm not going to put salt or I'm not going to season this until I've already drained the grease. Alright, so I'm going to take the chopper. We like our ground beef in little bitsy pieces. We don't like the bigger chunks. Well, I don't mind the bigger chunks, but for the most part we like to do it in the little fine pieces. And I'm actually going to let this simmer. When I've got everything in it, I'm just going to let it simmer for a while. And I'm going to let this ground beef cook slow too. That way the onions and the green peppers have more of a chance of getting softer. Now this recipe doesn't call for green peppers, but we put them in there anyway because when we make hot tamales, which is pretty much like a sloppy joe, we always put green peppers in it. So we thought we'd just put green peppers in this. We made this recipe once before and we really liked it. It was our go-to recipe from now on. But I don't know if I recorded it or if I even wrote it down, the little bit of changes we made to your original recipe. We made a couple changes and I can't find it. So now we're winging it again. Yes, that's Blackie. Alright, so I'm just going to cover this back up, let it cook for a little bit. I've got it on not quite medium, so it'll cook a little bit slower. Alright everyone, so I've got the grease drained out, so now I'm going to go ahead and put my salt and pepper in there. Well, I could have done it at the end after I add everything. Alright, just going to give that a mix. I have the temperature on low right now. just because I'm going to be adding the ingredients, and we're just going to let it simmer for a little while anyway. We're not going to eat it right away. Alright, so let's start adding stuff. We're going to add in 8-ounce can of tomato sauce. And while it's simmering, I'll determine whether I'll put another can. I don't remember if I did last time. We're going to do a 1/2 cup of ketchup. We're going to put about 1½ tablespoons of brown sugar. We're going to do some yellow mustard, about another 1½ tablespoons. Alright, we're going to throw in some Worcestershire sauce. I'm going to just do 1½ tablespoons. We've had experience where I think it kind of ruined the taste of our food. Alright, now we're going to go a tablespoon of vinegar. Alright, we're going to do a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. And 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder. Onion powder I don't mind more of. But that was 2 teaspoons, or a teaspoon of onion powder, but alright, so now this is where we weren't sure if we did this last time, but it calls for 2 tablespoons of butter. I don't know if we threw it in last time, but I'm going to throw it in. It calls for 2 tablespoons twice. One for toasting the buns and just 2 tablespoons. So I'm going to throw it in. I'm going to turn up my heat now. Make sure we got everything. Alright, so yeah, that's it. Oh, I know what those I know what those 2 tablespoons of butter were for. They were for sauteing the onions and green peppers. I ended up throwing olive oil in there, but oh well. It'll give some flavor to the mix. So we're just going to mix it all up, let it simmer. And as I said, I'm doing Texas toast on the French bread. And we got those rolls for Glenn. I did put, when we got French bread from Walmart the other day, I froze one right away. And then I left one out, which we used some for garlic breadsticks last night. But then what I did was I put the rest of it in the refrigerator so it slows down the molding process. Hopefully. It looks like it's still good, so alright, so I'm going to go ahead and cover this, put it on a lower heat, and just let it simmer for a while. All right, everyone. So it is time to eat supper, and Sloppy Joe's actually has been simmering for a few hours, just like on warm. So, and it actually turned out really good. So, I already took Glenn his, so he's got 2 rolls and some Sloppy Joe mix in a plate and some pickles. I'm going to make mine now. As I said, I'm doing Texas toast Sloppy Joes, but I don't actually have Texas toast bread or frozen stuff or anything like that. But I am going to use this French bread because it does need to be used up. I put it in the refrigerator yesterday, so hopefully it slows down that molding process. And I'm going to go ahead and cut them thicker slices to make it like Texas toast. So, and we're also having Jell-O. We had Jell-O yesterday, and we're eating the rest today. So that's going to be a side dish. So I think I'm going to make myself 3 pieces of Texas toast. So what I'm going to do is cut them first. All right, so let me get them cut. All right. All right, so I think maybe I'll cut them. That's the thickness I'm going to cut them. Yeah, I think that's about as thick as Texas toast is. And I don't want them too thick either. All right. So what I'm going to do is just butter them, put them in the oven, let them toast up. And then when they're all toasted, I'm going to bring them back out, put the Sloppy Joe mix on there and some cheese, and put them back in the oven. Yeah, I know they sell Texas toast like in the frozen department, or you can buy a loaf of Texas toast bread and toast it yourself. But, I mean, all it is thicker bread, right? I know when we used to go to Dairy Queen, we used to get their like chicken strip meal, and it came with Texas toast. I always liked it, but now they don't give it with the meal anymore. Or they got so many different chicken strip meals. I don't know. We go with the cheapest one. Oops. Alright, so I'm going to put these in the oven, get them toasted, bring them back out, put some Sloppy Joe mix and cheese on it, and put them back in. Alright everyone, so I've got my Texas toast out of the oven, and so I put some butter on it. Obviously you saw it's not quite browned on top, but that's okay because I don't want the sides getting too crunchy. So I'm going to put some Sloppy Joe mix on it now. Alright, so here is the Sloppy Joe mix, and it tastes good. So I was going to do story time tonight, but I'm going to the food pantry tomorrow, so maybe I'll save story time for the drive to the food pantry tomorrow morning. What do you guys think? Well, I'll be uploading this video without finding out what you think. I don't want to overload it with the Sloppy Joe stuff, but I want to make sure I have enough. Now I've got 3 kinds of cheeses I'm going to put on these. 1 on each one. Alright, so the first one I'm going to do is mozzarella cheese. But I get the feeling it's not going to melt that great. Okay. The other one I'm going to do in the middle is the Mexican 4-cheese style. It's got Monterey Jack, cheddar, asadero, and quesadilla. So when I was growing up, the only cheese my mom ever bought and used on our Mexican food was Monterey Jack. And obviously back then they didn't sell it in the shredded bags, so they bought blocks and shredded it up herself. But Monterey Jack was the only cheese we ever had growing up, besides the normal sandwich sliced cheese. So I love Monterey Jack. It just doesn't have as much flavor as it used to, but what does anymore, really? Right? Alright, I want to make sure I've got enough cheese. And the last one is going to be the triple cheddar, which is Vermont white cheddar, sharp cheddar, and mild cheddar. It almost looks like the Mexican 4-cheese one. It's almost a waste of cheese letting it drop like that. Let me see if I can pick it up and put it on here. Oops. I'm knocking more off. Oh. Alright. I'm going to go with that. Alright, so I'm going to put these back in the oven and let the cheese melt. Meanwhile, while that's in the oven, I'm going to put the cheese away and put my Jell-O in a bowl. Alright everyone, so I've got some Jell-O to go with my Cool Whip. This is the lime flavor, so this is the end of it. Oh, let me see if the cheese is melted enough. Not even close. So set it for 2 more minutes. Somebody had asked, this is the second time it got asked, I don't think I answered the first time, but the question was asked about that spicy tomato soup, and I answered the person today, but I just wanted to throw it out there for everybody who's curious. That spicy tomato soup on a scale of 1 to 10, Glenn says it's about a 3, a mild 3, so... And he says I could even eat it, but I don't believe him because sometimes he tricks me into eating hot stuff. And then he gets a kick out of it. So I don't believe him. At least for me. But he does say it's a mild 3. He said if you can take mild spicy, then you'll be okay with that tomato soup. Okay, so there it is. But you should just try a can at least. See if you can handle it. Alright, so I'm going to check on my Sloppy Joes, and I'll be back. Alright, everyone, so here is my Texas Toast Sloppy Joe. So we got, in the same order, I put them on the cookie sheet. Mozzarella, 4-cheese Mexican, and triple cheddar. Triple cheddar. Alright, so I'm going to sit down and enjoy this. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Melted pretty good, even the mozzarella. Yep, I'm going to enjoy this one. Alright, so that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch my videos. I appreciate every single one of you. And with that, remember to live life, be good to yourself, and be good to others. Until next time.